The FAA mentioned very recently in a survey and a report that they provided that there is still a shortage in aviation resources. That includes pilots, that includes other positions within the aviation industry, engineers, all types, analysts, all types of positions. So when we think about the shortage that we're seeing specifically with pilots, well, that's occurring for a couple of reasons. We have several pilots who are retiring right now, and because of that retirement of our seasoned pilots, that opens up a whole line of open positions that we need to fill going into the aviation industry. In another direction, there is an increasing demand in air travel. Just think about how often pre-COVID and now picking up now, considering COVID, how often you travel. When we think of travel commercially, when we think of travel by organizations, military travel, the full works, all of that is leading to a shortage of pilots. So I want to share a few statistics with you just to hold on to as our millennial leaders in aviation share their stories. 80,000 airline pilots are retiring. 80,000, that's a lot, over the next 20 years. United Airlines alone estimates that half of their 12,500 pilots will retire over the next 10 years, and they will need to hire 10,000 pilots over that period just to keep pace with their growth. And one more stat, American Airlines has a similar projection with 7,200 of their 15,000 pilots set to retire over the next decade. So as we get into the exciting portion of today, listening to our young aviation leaders, just think about the exciting opportunities that exist in the aviation industry. It could have your name on it. So without any further hesitation, I'd like to switch the floor back over to Miss Carrie Seuss, who's going to introduce to you our fantastic millennial leaders of today in aviation. Carrie, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ivy. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carrie Seuss, your current UAGC Women in STEM Vice President. It's my pleasure to introduce you to our four amazing millennial panelists. Their love of flying started at a young age, and their achievements to get where they are today is an inspiration to an old Gen Xer like me. Our fourth speaker, David Linscheid, he's actually en route, so I'm sure he will be here as soon as it's his turn and as we move forward. Is a graduate of Western Michigan University College of Aviation and currently a pilot at United Airlines flying the Airbus A320 out of Chicago O'Hare. As one that lives near O'Hare and under a flight path, I am sure he has flown over my house many a time. He currently resides in St. Joseph, Michigan, which is a small town on the shores of Lake Michigan. In his sophomore year of high school, David met Captain Willie Daniels, where he learned about the organization Shades of Blue. Captain Daniels then mentored and guided him on the path he leads today. After graduating college, he moved to Guam, conducting sightseeing tours in a small single-engine plane. He then flew for United Express, eventually landing at United Airlines. Welcome, David, and again, give a warm welcome to all of our esteemed panelists as I pass the mic.
Everybody hear me okay? Hope you can. I'm here in the beautiful Mile High City of Denver, Colorado. I apologize. I just took a flight in. So thank you so much for Dr. Karen Ivy for having me as one of your panelists. A little bit about me. It's interesting listening to all these other guys, how much we all have in common. And I hope everyone who's listening here has the same passion for aviation. And that's what it started as. Ever since I was a little kid, always wanted to be a pilot. Always knew I wanted to be a pilot. Never had any question of what I wanted to do. And it sounds like a lot of these guys are the same way, and I hope a lot of you are the same way. And networking is everything. And I learned that almost on accident. And I didn't know that until I got into high school. And I realized I don't know any pilots. I don't know how to become a pilot. Always know I wanted to do it. Always, my parents took me to the airport restaurant, and always, was around airplanes, but never really made connections with any pilots. until high school. I moved here to Denver and met a guy named Willie Daniels, who's on this phone call. And he became my mentor, and learned through him about his organization, Shades of Blue, that gets kids interested and passionate about aviation careers, and gets them in, gets them a mentor, and follows them and tracks them all the way till they get to United Airlines, or till they get wherever they're going, wherever their destination is. Maybe they don't want to be a pilot. Maybe you want to be an engineer. Maybe you want to be an astronaut. But aviation is something that's always intrigued me. And met Willie, got on his mailing list, went to Young Eagles flights, which are little intro flights. They're free to anyone under 18. Highly recommended if anybody's interested. From there, went to the, I'm going to take my mask off. That's okay with everybody. Went to the Wings Over the Rockies Museum, saw Willie there. And then from there, excuse me, got a scholarship through an organization that many people have already mentioned, OBAP, the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals. And went to the ACE camp, went to the Solo Academy, and also got a private pilot scholarship. And that was huge because I didn't grow up with a whole lot of money. There are scholarships out there. I know they're really hard to find, but a lot of scholarships unfortunately go unused. So if I could give one piece of advice, it would be find scholarships, hunt them down, and look for them, and they're out there. So from there, I got my private through OBAP with Captain Milon. He's a now retired Delta pilot, and met a lot of pilots because, like I said, networking is key. Went to Western Michigan University and finished up my ratings there. And then from there, got, as many others have said, an internship, which is huge, with Southwest Airlines. And man, the internship was amazing. Always got to go on, learn how the airline works, got the travel benefits, and we would always go somewhere and had a lot of fun. That's the other thing that's kind of true with aviation. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun group of people. It attracts a fun crowd. And did the internship with Southwest, did 2 more years at college, got my bachelor's degree. And again, through knowing the right people, talked to a professor one day. It was 2010. Things were really slow in aviation. As I'm sure you know, aviation is very cyclical. And I said, hey, I'm looking for a job. I'm going to graduate soon. I got my CFI, my instructor's license. I was in Michigan, which is kind of dark and cloudy a lot of the time, hard to build flight time. Do you know anybody? And she says, yeah, 25 years ago, I flew for this guy in Guam. Where's Guam? Oh, it's an island just south of Japan, about 1,000 miles. Oh, well, yeah, all right. Can you hook me, get me in contact with him, hook me up with him? And she did. And so the next thing you know, I'm 21 years old, going on a flight to Guam, and got a buddy pass from Willie, which I'm eternally thankful for, and got my hours over there, worked over there for 9 months, and it was amazing. It's interesting going, as I'm sure many of you know, it's very expensive to become a pilot, but it's interesting going from paying money to fly to getting paid to fly. And don't tell my boss, but it's like, I get paid to do this? This is amazing. I was doing sightseeing tours around this little island in a little 4-seat Cessna, and loved it. And was still in contact with Willie, and still in contact with the connections I had made back in the continental U.S. And got a phone call from Commute Air, which is kind of like Piedmont and Endeavor, one of the small regional feeders for United. I was a first officer there for 2 years, upgraded to the captain's seat for 4 years, and then got hired on with United in 2017. And so I've been here just over 4 years. I'm a first officer on the Airbus 320, 319, same as Chameron, I believe, and based in Chicago. I live in Michigan. I've got a wife and 2 kids, and they are wonderful. Spend a lot of time with them. Also spend time mentoring other pilots. And another thing is I want to be Willie. I want to go into classrooms. Just yesterday, I had a guy who's doing career day for a local high school say, hey, will you come and talk to us? I said, yes, I would love to come and talk to you. So that's something I'm really passionate about, is I want kids to meet pilot, or to know what this job is about, know it is the best job in the world, and mentor and inspire others. And when Willie and Dr. Ivy asked if I would be a part of this, I was overjoyed. And that's something I really want to do more of. As I said before, aviation is very cyclical. We learned during COVID I was going to be furloughed. So another piece of advice I could give the younger crowd is find something outside of aviation too. I have always been good at flying airplanes. That's all I've known. And then COVID happened. All of a sudden, there wasn't a need for pilots anymore. So I bought a rental house and renovated that, trying to get invested in real estate and having an income to support my family outside of aviation. But if I could say anything, yeah, connections are key, and networking is huge. And don't ever pass up a connection. People in aviation are generally really cool, and get a business card made. When I was in college, I had business cards, and I handed them out to people I met. And it was a really good way to, hey, what's your name again? Here's my business card, and try to build connections with others in aviation. And get an internship. Get your foot in the door. Keep your grades up. Keep your nose clean. That's the other thing. Don't get anything on your criminal record. And I'm not perfect. I didn't get perfect grades. But thankfully I never, if you have a drug or alcohol conviction or a problem with that, it's really hard to get hired in this business, and it can be very competitive. So yeah, I'm going to hand it back to Dr. Ivy or anyone else now.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mayan. I am the outgoing secretary with Women in STEM. It is a pleasure to meet everyone and see everyone today. Before we get started with our question and answer section, I want to bring Captain Willie Daniels up to the mic to share a few words. And also after Captain Daniels speak, could all of the panelists turn on their cameras after turn on their cameras, and that would be great so that everyone can see and ask questions. Go ahead, Captain Daniels.
Hello, Maya and Mark, Tevin, Chameron, David. We have a couple other additional panelists. And so Tanesha, Wallace, and Tanya Gatlin, as duty calls, says, hey, we need you guys to go to work. And so they're out right now. But, I couldn't be more proud of each and every one of these young individuals who are now airline pilots roaming around the world. And as we mentioned from the standpoint, this is an opportunity like Tevin and Chameron are 20, 25, 26 years of age. They have an opportunity to earn six figures for 40 plus years. And there's not a lot of jobs out there that will pay you six figures for 1 year, but let alone 40 plus years. And that was the whole purpose of when we founded the organization Shades of Blue in 1999 initially. And we filed for our articles of incorporation. It was with the idea of taking airline pilots like myself, alongside of engineers and scientists from our working environment into the classrooms K through college to make it relevant while they're learning what they're learning. But the big thing is we just did not want to go into a classroom and say, hello, I'm an airline pilot, look at me, be like me. So we created a mechanism, a tracking mechanism to get these young people in the pipeline at an early age, whereby we can mentor them on a long-term basis. We can track them all over college, and once they have the credentials that they need to have, then we can help run their resumes right into the HR departments. So we've opened up that pipeline from primary education through secondary education all the way into the workforce. Now, with that being said, I just retired back in 2020 from United Airlines after 42 years of service with United. I thought I was riding off into the sun. And the next thing I know, I felt like the Godfather. They just pulled me right back in. So right now, I currently work in our operations center at Denver International Airport for our chief pilot, Captain Rob Biddle. And I basically represent the chief pilot when they're not in the office. I represent them, representing the pilots and helping them solve whatever issues that they might have that comes up on a day-to-day basis. So I work in our operations center with all of our other managers that run the whole entire airline at United out of Denver. This is a unique opportunity for any of those young people out there that are hearing us today for you to get engaged at an early age. By the time you're 22, 23 years of age, if you got your 4-year degree and you're learning how to fly, maybe you have gotten to the level of an airline transport certificate, it's a great opportunity for you to be 23, 24 years of age and have 40 plus years worth of service. Now, the uniqueness that's going to take place here between now and 2038, in the world, we're looking at worldwide shortages of about 804,000 airline pilots. That's a lot of opportunity for anybody that wants to become a pilot. But not only that, there's a whole host of other opportunities. Like right now, we need almost 914,000 flight attendants that will be needed by 2038, and also about 769,000 aircraft mechanics. And that's just a few of the jobs. We have dispatchers, we have managers, we have ramp personnel. We have all different types of personnel. We do food service. So it's like a huge company worldwide that needs well-qualified, well-educated employees. Now, David mentioned earlier that you cannot get into this profession if you've been involved in drugs or crime or anything like that. So you have to keep yourself clean. You have to keep yourself healthy. And it's a holistic approach that you want to take a look at this, because the airlines, they will go back throughout your whole entire history to check you out to make sure that they want to put a $250–300 million piece of equipment in your hands, carrying 300–400 lives at one time across the world safely. And so it's a lot of responsibility that you have to look at it from that standpoint. So this is a great opportunity. As I mentioned, Mark and I, we met when he was 8 years old at a event at the Wings Over the Rockies Air and Space Museum in Denver. The Tuskegee Airmen they were showing the very first movie, The Red Tails. And so that's where I met Mark. He came up to me and said, "Excuse me, sir, are you a pilot?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he asked me about, "Can you tell me the difference between a PT-2 and a PT-7 pitot-2?" And anybody knows anything about jet engines, it's the inlet pressure on the jet engine versus the outlet pressure. And I was impressed with the mere fact that an 8-year-old kid was asking me a question like that. So Mark and I have known each other for almost 19, 20 years or more. David, we actually met at his high school up at Legacy High School. Within his teacher invited me to come in and speak at their school, Mr. Al Godman. And we still go back and forth to their schools even today to speak to their students. Tevin and Chameron, we had an opportunity to meet as they were already interns with United Airlines. And so the big thing with that is, we set up a relationship. They asked when I was flying as a 777 captain, would I mind if they came and rode on one of my trips with me over to London, which they did. They hopped on my flight. Tevin jump seated, Chameron rode in the cabin, and we had a fantastic time. I had an enjoyable time with a lot of photos showing them all over London and places like that. Since then, they joined our organization, working with my chapter president out of the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, Dr. Valerie Thomas, who's a former famous African-American female inventor for NASA, who invented the illusion transmitter for NASA, and that we use in simulations right now today all over. So Chameron and Tevin both have volunteered their time, and I'm really proud of them for giving back to the next generation, because I asked the students that if I help you, all I ask is you turn around and reach back and help someone else join where you are. So we have other individuals that you'll hear from in the coming future. Miss Tanesha Wallace, who's flying for a company called Wheels Up, and hopefully she'll be here with United very soon. Miss Tanya Gatlin, who got a last-minute trip today and had to go out and fly. Other than that, she would have been on this call this morning or this afternoon. And so it's a great opportunity. So if anyone is interested, they can feel free to check out our website at ourshadesofblue.org. Students can join our organization all over the country. We have several chapters in Los Angeles, Colorado, DC, Maryland, Virginia, Georgia, New Mexico, and we're bringing other chapters that were dormant back up and operational, like in Illinois and things like that. So this is a great opportunity for those of you who are interested in a rich, rewarding career to be productive members of society. And I look at it from the standpoint that not only do you benefit, but everybody involved in your sphere of influence, your family members and your friends can all benefit from that. And with that being said, I will turn it back over to Dr. Ivy. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This has been so exciting. Oh my goodness, I am so inspired. Right now, we're going to switch the view to gallery, and we are asking if all of the panelists, including Captain Willie, can turn on your cameras.
How do you even top an event like this? We don't know, but hey, we're just going to keep on trying, and, you know, and hopefully we can have more Captain Willie and his crew to come back to share with us. We would love to have you all. And so on that note, we will see you next month as we have another exciting webinar on the STEM industry. So I encourage everyone to pursue your dreams, and I hope you stay safe, and I hope you have a great weekend. Until March, we'll see you then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.